the Willoughby Coal Supply Company. Known for its hardware and landscaping supplies, it's also known for its paranormal activity. Some of the astounding claims of paranormal activity include apparitions, shadow figures, disembodied voices, and large, heavy objects that appear to move all on their own. The building was constructed in 1893 by former mayor of Willoughby, Bond, where it originally served as a flour mill. Even prior to the existence of the coal and supply building, the Zebra Stagecoach House had originally been built on the site. However, the old Zebra House was reported to have burned down in 1879. Today, some strongly believe that the Willoughby Coal Supply Company shares the same foundation as the Zebra House. Despite the building's potential origins, a business named Goff Kirby operated there until two of its employees, Henry Windus and Don Norris, decided to purchase the property in partnership in the 1930s. Mr. Windus and Mr. Norris appeared to be doing well for themselves when unexpectedly, tragedy struck the town of Willoughby. Early in the morning of April 3, 1947, Don Norris had mysteriously and violently fallen to his death from the circular third-floor window of the building. Rumors of foul play and suicide plagued the local newspapers. Although the chief of police released a statement ruling out foul play, it's unclear if the coroner that examined the body was ever convinced of that conclusion. To this very day, no one knows for sure what happened on the early morning of Mr. Norris's death. Despite the many beliefs and the harrowing facts regarding the history of Willoughby Coal Supply, it's still an operating business today. In addition to housing hardware, landscaping, and other miscellaneous industrial supplies, the building also serves as the home operating base of our friends and fellow paranormal investigators, the Haunted Housewives. With their blessing and assistance, our team was granted access to what is considered to be the most haunted location in all of Willoughby, Ohio. All right, Cathi, tell me what happened around this area right here, please.
Well, in 1947, one of the owners, Don Norris, got up in the morning to come in to unlock, and apparently, at some point, he found himself on the third floor. And this was 7:30 a.m. in the morning, probably. But what the story I was told by his daughter is that he was on scaffolding, because this was under construction. They were having some renovation done. And he was walking along the scaffolding, checking the work of the people who were doing construction. When he reached this window that was not in the brickwork, on the scaffolding, he caught his boot on a nail and accidentally fell out the window trying to get his foot loose. So he was alive when he was falling because he broke both of his wrists trying to break his fall. But at that point, it appeared he was so badly hurt that he wasn't going to live. He left his home at 7:10. The first man who found him was 7:40, and he was already dead and bled out in front of the door downstairs.
So Angela, I understand that a shadow figure was seen over in this corner. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, we were here on an investigation overnight. It was middle of the night, about 10 o'clock. And there was a group of us sitting about the middle of the room over there. Okay. And someone had put up their grid pen, so you have the green dots on this very wall right here.
Okay.
And we were all just kind of talking, and the next thing you know, someone says, look over there. And this big, about 7-foot shadow comes walking from the corner right behind you over this way and disappears right about when it gets to that window.
Wow. So, just disappeared.
Just gone. We didn't see it on the other side because there's light that comes in the windows over here as well. And we didn't see it again the rest of the night. So it was very interesting to find that this big black shadow had shown up and no one was walking around at the time.
So Cathi, there was something awesome or interesting, we'll say, that happened right here regarding these doors.
Yes.
What happened exactly?
Well, we were having a public investigation, which we do occasionally, and these were people who weren't really experienced with ghost hunting, but always wanted to do it. So I had two men who wanted to do a solo investigation back here in the stockroom. And these doors, they shut them. We were on the third floor, I believe. They were down here in the stockroom. And they came running upstairs to tell us that while they were down here, as they walked towards these doors, they got to about, let's say, 8 yards away, and these doors just swung open. I mean, like this.
Like somebody was opening the door for them.
Like someone was expecting them and opening the door to let them out. So everyone else in the group, this was two gentlemen, everyone else in the group, there were probably 5 others, we were down here and they said, can we get them to open the doors again? And I had to explain to them that's not usually how it works. Right. So I said, well, shut the doors, which we didn't have them all the way in the locked position. They were probably about here. Okay. And I said, let's try it. And I set my camera up here. And we were gathered around over in this area, and I said, could you please open the doors for us again? Right. And I put this video on so that Eric could see it. And it was about 1 minute and 50 seconds in, these things just swung right on open, just like that.
But then, of course, our favorite, the EVPs that we get here on the second floor.
Right.
Amazing EVPs. The most profound and memorable EVP that I've had on this floor of Willoughby Coal. Cathi and I, again, were sitting over here by this desk. And we like to kind of face the opposite direction so we can see a little more. We had our recorders between us. And we always kind of introduce ourselves to the spirits, even though we think that any spirits or entities here know who we are because we're here so often.
Absolutely.
But just like you would start a conversation, we say, hello, how are you? It's Theresa and Cathi, we're here. And then we start talking. And during this particular EVP session, we asked if Mr. Norris was here or if there was any other spirit that wanted to speak with us. And the one answer we got that night, we asked, can you tell us, or do you know what happened to Mr. Norris? And when we played it back, it was clear as a bell. It said murdered.
Could you tell me a little bit about Zip?
Sure. Zip was a gentleman who did work here in the 70s, and he actually lived back in this area. He was homeless at the time. The owner said, you can live back here since you work here. We trust you. And so he actually did have a heart attack in the building.
Zip did.
Zip did. And so we were back here during an investigation trying to contact Zip. And when we asked him if he was here, we got a couple blue and green lights that kind of zipped up the
wall.
That's right.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
I saw a dark shadow that was darker than the darkness. It's hard to explain that, but it was darker than anything around it. And it started to form right over the stairwell. And it just kind of hovered for a little bit. It had movement to it. It wasn't static. And the position it was in, it couldn't have been a human. It was almost horizontal. It would form and it kind of went
like leaning forward almost.
Yes, kind of like if it formed like this and then it was like this because it was, and I was sitting so I could see it and it kind of formed like that. And that was kind of creepy.
Well, yeah.
So.
Now, the other interesting thing about Zip, as I'm told anyway, that he has some secret.
Yes. The legend goes that Zip had something that he stored in the walls. And we believe that is some gold that was very precious to him. And so we do come in here and try and ask him if he would tell us where that gold is hidden.
Right.
But he's never given us any indication.
So Zip has some form of mysterious secret lying around here somewhere. That's the legend, or that's the story that's told.
Correct.
And people are presuming that this mystery, or that whatever this is that he's hiding, is gold.
Yeah, because when he was alive, he did go into town to buy a vehicle, and he bought a truck with only 2 sacks full of gold. So that's why that legend came about.
I got a different sense from the shadow I saw over the stairs as opposed to the one we saw forming in the corner. And Kathy's had that experience too, where she saw something happening over there in the corner. And you go over by the coats and you're like, what's going on? But the thing over in the corner almost to us felt residual, like something, it was just here. It didn't give off any kind of bad vibes. The shadow we saw over there
it felt different.
It definitely felt different. It felt, I don't want to say threatening, but it definitely felt like something wanting us to know that it was here and not afraid to show itself. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It's more of a bold presence.
Yes.
Okay.
Specific night, we were collecting a lot of evidence back here that might indicate the dog, Yukon, the dog who had died here, was killed by a train, that he was still around, as the secretary here kept telling me. This dog is still here. I see him. I hear him. And that night, each group that went back here had an explanation or an experience that would indicate that there was something back here, and it seemed to be an animal. We had growling reports. We had a young lady say that she saw a brown shape running towards her that looked like an animal. And then when I got grabbed, after I told the owner about this, he said, that's really funny because my dog used to just come, because he was elderly at that point. He was an old dog. Right. He used to just sniff around people's ankle area, and just leave them alone.
Yukon was a chocolate lab.
Mm-hmm. An old chocolate lab.
Okay.
And the owner used to bring him regularly, and one day he came, and the dog wasn't anywhere in the building, and he saw the front door was open a crack. They followed his paw prints in the snow, and he had been hit by a train.
Oh.
So the poor old guy died over here by the train, but since then, people have reported that he's still in the building.
I was leading the ghost walk, and we bring people by here all the time. We usually just stand outside, and I tell the history of the building and then some of the ghost stories that have happened.
Right.
Now, we always tell the story of Mr. Norris and his untimely death from the third floor window, and how they found his body right outside the door.
Right.
When I was telling that story and all the other stories, I always encourage people to take pictures. Personally, most photographs don't do anything for me.
I'm with you.
They're so easily faked.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I see a picture of a supposed ghost, I always just, bleh, whatever, sure.
Yep.
And if I wasn't here that night when this happened, I probably wouldn't believe it. So this night, after I told the story of Mr. Norris, a young man on the ghost walk came up with his camera up to the door, and in a very nonchalant way, he said, "Mr. Norris, it's time for your selfie."
Okay.
And he started snapping pictures. But then he showed me a picture. He goes, "Oh my God, look, there's a face." And he showed me the picture on the screen, and when you zoomed in on it, it looked like a face. And it was right at this door here, and he was facing right in, and you could tell because he actually picked up the corner of the flag sticker that's on the door.
Okay.
So you could actually see exactly where he was pointing his camera. Again, we tried to duplicate it. If I was not here that night, I would not believe it. Cathi almost didn't believe it, except she trusts me. She knows I wouldn't make it.
Right, absolutely.
And we had at least 20 witnesses. But when you look at this and you blow it up, you can definitely see that it is a face. And to me, it looks like a face that has some physical damage to it.
Well, yeah, like maybe there was some impact of some sort.
Maybe like he fell from the third floor or something. That's our theory, is that this is definitely an image, a picture of Mr. Norris. And I think Mr. Norris desperately wants people to know what happened to him. Whether his death was an accident, whether it was suicide, or whether it was murder. I think that he wants
People to know the truth.
He wants people to know what happened to him, and he definitely does not want to be forgotten. I think that these pictures are the best visual proof we have that there is something creepy and haunting going on here at Willoughby Coal, and I do believe that that is Mr. Norris in those pictures.
Once having heard the highly credible experiences from Theresa, Cathi, and Angela, we knew that it was time to do what we love to do best. It was time to set up all of our cameras and equipment for the paranormal investigation of the Willoughby Coal Supply Company. We placed our first camera in the stockroom, hoping to catch a glimpse of the shadowy dog named Yukon. Then our next camera was set up on the other side of the stockroom, facing the double doors that have been seen opening on their own. Right after that, we quickly assembled a camera setup on Tom while he conducted EVP sessions. Then we headed over to the main store area in order to set up a camera in the corner where former tenant and employee Zip is thought to reside. Heading up to the second floor, we settled a camera facing the stairway where Haunted Housewife Theresa Argie had seen the strange shadow anomaly. On the third floor, we set up a camera facing the wall where the thin, tall shadow figure had been seen by tour guide and investigator Angela and a police officer, both at the same time. And then lastly, we decided to place the thermal down in the basement just below the main store. There's obstacles. There's my pal. Hi, pal.
Hey, pal.
Let's go upstairs. Now we're headed up to the third floor. We're buddies.
Eric and Sean were going up to the third floor of Willoughby Coal Supply Building. Right as Eric was at the top of the steps, there was a voice.
Willoughby Coal Supply. I made it.
You got the chairs up here and everything?
Yeah.
Look at that. See that chair? It's got my name on it.
Hey, was that you?
I just heard a whisper, like a sigh.
Nope.
Yeah.
Look at that. See that chair? It's got my name on it.
Hey, was that you?
What?
I just heard a whisper, like a sigh.
Nope.
Mark that. Please mark that. Can you do that again for me, please?
And all of a sudden, they were interrupted by this whisper. Why? You ask why? Ask why? We have no idea. But that's the thing that spirits do. They do the unthinkable, the unimaginable. They don't know why.
The one thing about this EVP that really, really impressed me is how clearly it came through. I gotta say, you don't normally get EVPs like this. It was just phenomenal.
Don, is that you?
That was actually my first time going up there. I've never been up there before. And so I was just kind of looking around, getting a feeling of the room and everything. And then, just as I'm noticing the chairs, you hear that voice. To me, it's almost like it's asking, why do you care about these chairs? But I was shocked to see chairs. I was happy to have a place to sit down. I personally didn't hear it, but man, is that a great EVP.
Hey, was that you?
What?
One of the cameras in the stockroom picked up a noise, which wouldn't be the first noise of the night. Sounded like a crashing or a door slamming.
There was nobody in the supply room. And you hear this bang. It sounded like it was behind the camera. We're not sure what that was all about. But less than a minute later, this breathy type, I think they were trying to speak. We're not sure what they were trying to say. They surely were trying to say something.
When Eric and I were first discussing this loud bang that was recorded on one of the stockroom cameras, Eric had originally thought that it was someone walking in the doors or possibly leaving the room. So we went over to another camera and we wanted to try and debunk this noise. And instead of debunking the noise, we caught this EVP.
Well, between the noise and the whisper, I actually have no explanation for either one. They're both there, but there's no reason for it.
Most of the team was gathered on the third floor, where Laura was explaining what she was feeling during the evening and what she was feeling at that time. She was talking about the spirit Zip and also that of Henry. And after she went through some of the history and talked about what she was feeling, it turned into a K2 session where the K2 meter able to interact and answer questions by flashing the lights. I found it very interesting with the responses we were getting.
It just lit up again.
Yeah.
Can you light it up again for us? That was pretty quick.
See, what I find is when we're not like intensely like staring something down.
Look, there it goes.
that
Thank you.
When I'm walking, you know, I look away or do whatever.
Did you get it, Tim?
Yeah.
See, that's amazing. We asked again and then it did it again.
Could you make it go further than that?
Yes!
God,
Yes,
it's
thank
on
you.
camera.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
That is awesome. Thank
So
you.
upstairs, it was really interesting because the whole energy in the place was getting thicker, almost like soup. It was like really thick soup. And what happened was it kept on seeming to climb or elevate the energy.
Anything of that is anywhere true, or could you please line it up a little bit? Like that K2 meter up again? Let us know.
Yes! Yes!
Got it.
Oh man, you guys got that?
That's true. I got it.
Yes!
Thank you.
That was for
And yes, I do have to admit, I did get a little bit excited, but I just really love what I do. And I love when the spirit honors me with this communication. To me, that is like the biggest honor of being a paranormal investigator.
That's what these are
There's
for.
no explanation.
I
for
just,
this.
I've got my camera on the thing the whole time. I don't know if that's,
That's good.
yeah, I'm not.
There is no explanation for this.
Yep,
It's
still.
so
Thank you.
Thank you.
It felt to me like there was 3 men interacting around us, and we were getting some interaction prior to that in the evening, so it was very interesting.
One of you two ladies asked Henry if he'll light up the K2 meter twice for us.
Henry, will you light up the K2 meter for us twice so that we know it's you?
What's one?
Can you do it again?
We're asking it. I mean, this is when I get uncomfortable. This is like trained monkeys, trying to get monkeys to...
Well, we want to know that we're actually talking to Henry, right?
Right, and I understand that, but it takes a lot of energy for them to do this
It
stuff.
does.
Okay.
So,
Maybe use keywords.
he's saying yes.
Okay.
You walked, did you see what he just
I
did?
saw it.
Okay. I do believe what we're experiencing was real interaction. I think it got a little bit carried away and almost got to the point where it was degrading to the presence, to the spirit. And so I did get a little bit uncomfortable.
Zip, are you still here with us?
That's pretty quick.
Yep.
And Hank, are you still here with us? Or Henry?
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
He's much stronger, Henry is, it seems.
Wow.
Was it one of you that was making me feel dizzy? I don't think they like me.
Were one of you making Sean feel dizzy? Trying to use his energy or anything? Can you...
Yes.
Oh, wow, pal.
It's not that they don't like you, they just like Amber. They like girls.
I like girls too.
We have something in common.
I don't blame you.
It's okay, you can talk to me. You can even talk to me.
He interacted there.
Yeah.
Sean, he just said yes.
Was that like a laugh?
Yeah, I think he was in on it, like, agreeing with Sean.
It seemed like every time the girls would kind of interact with the spirit, we would see that on the K2 device.
I just want to ask you guys, I know you guys like the girls and everything, but really we want to learn your story and we want to tell your story. And if there's any place you want to take us to or anything you want to show us, please let us know. And you can lead us there, you can make noises, tap different places, or you can even communicate with Laura Lynn. But please, take us to different places. Please give us a tour if you can. We'd really, really appreciate it.
You like that?
Please, teach us. I just got the chills too.
Cool.
So if there's anywhere you want to take us, please, we'll gladly follow.
He is saying this is where I spend most of my time. I am
Okay.
hearing that.
Okay.
Awesome.
And he likes it up here.
I would too.
Well,
It's
let's-
pretty cool up there.
We have a static cam running up here. I say we head downstairs, take
Okay.
a quick break,
All right.
and regroup.
The main thing here is that I saw also, it was really nice to see how Sean kind of summed it up. And I could feel the energy between Amber and, you know what, Eric was enthusiastic. He was excited. And I know Eric's heart, and I could see the enthusiasm. I just, from a personal vantage point, I feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable for the present spirit to be asked to jump through so many hoops.
One of the most important things that I have learned from Laura Lynn is the need to be respectful and thoughtful to spirit when you're trying to communicate. And that is something that I take very seriously. Towards the end of the night, everyone else had decided to go and take a short break. Tim and I had decided to go in the back room on our own and do a little bit of investigating. I'm coming up.
Was that you?
No, that was not me.
Where'd that come from?
Over here.
Was that you?
No, that was not me.
Where'd that come from?
Over here. Behind this door.
What was that? Where are you?
I don't know. I'm over here, dude.
And while we were investigating, we heard this loud crash sound. On the video, it sounds like a pop, which is really weird to me because it was more like a metallic crash. And so we're trying to look for this and where this noise had came from or what it may have been. We couldn't find a thing.
It was very loud. It sounded like something popping off of something, but you couldn't see anything. And it sounded like it was right behind him, but there was no explanation for the sound.
Both of us turned around and we were like, what was that? We thought it was each other. And we were looking at each other like, did you do that? No, we didn't do that. And it just happened. It was a noise. It sounded like something fell or something was even being thrown. But regardless, there was something in there with us. Something made a noise.
And so we're trying to look for this and where this noise had came from or what it may have been. We couldn't find a thing. And even with going through debunking, we can't figure out what this noise is. But I'll tell you one thing for sure. It got my attention.
Was that you?
No, that was not me.
Where'd that come from?
So this wonderful paranormal tool that we all have it. It's something that we can all access. It's right here. Your mind is so wonderful. It is so impressive what can happen when you go within. Just close your eyes when you're going into a historical building. Close your eyes, take in the action, take in what comes through. You might see a face. You might see stories behind the people. You might see animals running through. Might have a wonderful impression of what it looked like 50, 75, 100 years ago. Go with it. Write it down real quick right after you're done with the impressions, right when you're finished taking it all in. Write it down quickly, then do your research. Research after. You're going to be really impressed what you capture on your own. This is something that is so exciting because the more you do this, practice, perseverance, a lot of patience. Patiently go through it and go through over and over, and you will be wonderfully excited to see how your own mind opens to the psychic abilities.
And we go over there because we heard a large boom, like one of those bags had fallen. Every bag was perfectly in place, but we heard the boom and there was dust rising from the ground as if something of one of these dusty bags had fallen, but none had fallen.
Nothing had fallen. You remembered like kind of how it was laying, and you walked over there and it was exactly the same.
Yeah.
But you heard this loud boom.
Nothing had fallen, and even if had something fallen, there's no way it could have fallen because they're all neatly stacked bags.
You know what's really neat about that is that you asked for something to happen and then it did. And you weren't hurt and you weren't even scared, were you?
Well, everyone was kind of...
You may have been a little scared, let's be honest, yeah.
The little kids were freaked out about it.
But you
we
weren't.
go over there and there's absolutely nothing.
If you weren't really scared and you didn't get hurt and it was just somebody trying to say hello, right?
Yeah.
Nothing too scary, right? Right.
And we were looking over there and we were like checking it out and we were kind of scared.
Mhm.
And then we heard something move. And when we went over there, there was nothing there but like a table that used to be over here, but then it was over there.
Wow.
Or something.
Wouldn't you have loved to have seen that? Or maybe not, maybe you'd have been running the other way. Your mom was here helping you record.
Yes. And they said Henry and Zip.
Henry and Zip.
Yes.
They were both here because they wanted to say hi to you.
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
Mhm.
You weren't scared, were you?
No.
Are you starting to learn how to be a ghost hunter?
Yeah. I've been wanting to ghost hunt for a while.
It sounds like you're getting really good at it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Good stuff.
There you go.